All right, welcome back to Vitoria 1813 for scenario number 4 in David Brown's and Christopher Brown's GDA campaign book for Victoria. Sorry about that. Got my morning voice already, starting off early. Got to get that cleared up. If you haven't watched the pre-videos, please do. I actually ended up doing 2 of them. I combined one into a 3 upcoming battles video, and then I've got another one that just basically focuses on troop placements on the board for this particular battle. So please check those out. A couple of additions to those videos. The French have a regimental or battalion gun at each of the built-up areas, which has some cool rules. They get 3 actions for the entire battle, so they can either do divisional morale, or sorry, they can do a morale, or they can do they can fire. So I've kind of skimmed over those, but when I do break them out to shoot or use them in the game, I'll be referring back to the rules. They're in the artillery section. Also, I've looked over bridges, and there's not a lot mentioned in. Just says they have to cross in column. So, okay. I reached out to Scott just to double check to see if he knew anything else. I was thinking they might at least do half movement or something like that, or unform the unit. But we shall see. In the book, it just says they have to cross in column and they can reform. And if they want to reform, I guess they want to stay in column like the French usually do anyway. So what's the big deal? So if it is, that's great. But we'll get on to the battle. All right, so beginning of the game, both sides will have 5 ADCs. We've got General Graham against General Rail. And we're going to kick off here with ADC rolls. And both sides have reserves off table, of course. And we'll get to them probably at some point. I think turn 3 they can come in, or you can do it early with ADC taskings. This is a divisional level game, so nothing too immense. I'm eyeballing La Hermidad as possibly going to a core level game, and the final assault scenario 6 is a core level game, so I could also just wait for that and do it correctly. So I'll probably do that. We'll think about it though. And that's it. So now we'll do the ADC rolls for both sides. Both sides end up with 3 ADCs to start off, and we'll go ahead and place those. And I'm going to put a mental reminder to myself: the British are attacking, so they have the core orders rule. So if they do have a hesitant brigade, they can choose to unhesitant that unit. It will lose its taskings, but they won't suffer the penalty for that. And that's only in turn 1. The British have decided to do re-rolls on 3 of their brigade commanders. So on the right, General Halkett. Next over to him, General Robinson will also get a re-roll. And then General Hay down here, to just a little bit left of center. General Stedman on the end, he is a bold brigadier commander for this battle, so he gets an inherent re-roll anyway. So that's kind of nice. So all 4 British, I want to say battalions, but sorry, brigades on table will get a re-roll. So 2 chances to pass. The French are going to give General Menet a re-roll, but also attach an artillery assault to his battery of 6-pounders here in the center. Just try to hammer away at anybody that comes in towards the center bridge. They only have 3 ADCs. Can't do a lot with it, so you might as well have some fun. The rest of the French will be kind of going on their own. And they have 3 brigades on table. And I'll tell you what, I was out gardening yesterday. I meant to get this game more basically started, but I did some garden work for my wife and for me. And I must have hit a hornet nest or a wasp nest or something, because I got stung. Like my entire right side has been lit up. I've got like 8 or 9 of these things, and I think I took some Benadryl last night and went to sleep right away just to try to decrease the swelling. But, oof, I wouldn't recommend this. I got to go back out and just make sure if I don't stumble upon this, wherever they would nest it out. I have no clue. I got a little guess in my backyard where they might be. I'm gonna try to avoid it, but I'd like to know where it is so I can avoid it in the future, because these things suck. All right, we've got 2 dice for each of the British brigades on the table, and we'll go ahead and roll those now to see who's active and who's not for General Graham. Booyah! Everything's active for the British and the Germans. There are some German troops here and more to come. There's a Hanoverian brigade off table. They technically weren't here yet, but I just don't have any Spanish and Portuguese models, so I've got my Hanoverians to come on in, and they're classed the same as the troops in the order of battle for laid out for this scenario. That's probably the one thing I did follow. I did blow this up a little bit. And so they're all active, and now we'll go over to the French. They'll just get a re-roll on General Menet. The rest of them will be just one shot, one kill kind of rolls. And General Rail is also all active, which is, you never see this in a game. Alright, so everyone's going good. The artillery assault will go off this turn, and boom, we'll do initiative. Both sides will be rolling 2d6 and no extra dice for this turn. Well, after firing on all cylinders for the first stages of the turn, General Rail shuts it down with a double 1. General Graham will take initiative and begin. There's no charges, so we'll go right into movement for the British. A little overhead view after movement. British have done basically a general advance across, just moving forward 6 inches. See cotton balls down. Skirmishers have gotten in range in most instances. Be firing across the river, so it's assumed in GDA there's, at least GDA 2, excuse me, that there's bushes and stuff along riverbanks, so there is some cover there. I think I've missed that in the past. The 60th Royal American, his veteran unit, they changed formation and moved, which only like veteran elite units can do. They've moved into skirmish formation. After advancing 12, they did not get into firing range though, so they won't be shooting. The French mostly stayed static, but they did move a couple units closer to the bridgehead just to be in position. After reading the rules for crossing a bridge, I just thought I'd have them a little bit closer. And there they are. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use the battalion guns or regimental guns inside of the each built-up area yet. That'd be kind of interesting. I only get 3 actions per game though, so might have to save that. And there you go. I think I got a good view of everybody. Both guns for the French are in range, or both artillery batteries. Be firing across the river. All right, let's get on to skirmish firing. Start off down here with the skirmishers from General Halkett's 3rd Brigade. They're firing 1 across the river and 2 against a built-up area. So I don't know how bad that'll slaughter their fire. I gotta check that real quick. All right, just talked to Scott. Thought I'd read it and double check with my boy. They'll lose 1 for shooting across the river because and also they'll lose 2 more for firing into a built-up area. So they'll lose 3 CD total. And I won't dizzy you with my math, but I'll come back with a total here in a second. So they're only going to end up with 4 shots against that, what's it called? Garrison. Alright, let's go ahead and knock those out real quick. Good luck, baby. So they're only going to end up with 4 shots against that, what's it called? Garrison. Alright, let's go ahead and knock those out real quick. Good luck, baby. Well, good on them. They're able to inflict 1 casualty to the large battalion, the 1st Battalion of the 118th, that are garrisoning Abu Checo. God, I hope I pronounced that even close to being right. We'll slide down the line here. Now we've got 4 bases of British rifles firing across the river at those gentlemen there. They will drop 1 die and go down to 5 shots across the river at those French skirmishers. Those guys pop a casualty on those Frenchmen across the river. Now we'll scoot on down the road. I'm not sure which compass direction this all is going. I'm sure I can figure it out, but right now I'm not 100% sure. But we're going to the left. General Hayes' skirmish line in the center will get 5 shots across the river at their French counterparts. General Hayes' skirmish line in the center will get 5 shots across the river at their French counterparts. They are also able to inflict a casualty on them, and then we get down to the Highlanders. We're just going to assume these dudes have rifles. I just gave them, I had some extra bases from what Mike D sent me. Thank you, Mike. And they have 5 bases, so we're looking at 8 shots, but losing 3, going down to 5 shots against, is that right? Let me double check that. No, 7 shots, dropping down 3 to 4, just like before. I don't know why I couldn't repeat the exact thing I did before. I decided to get creative there. Sorry about that. 4 shots against the built-up area on the far left of the British line. Ah, those guys let down the side. They're not able to inflict any casualties on the Durana garrison. We'll start right there. The boys inside Durana are going to fire back. They normally have 5 shots. They'll lose 1 for firing across the river. So 4 shots against the Highlander skirmish brigade. Skirmish line. Sorry about that. Let's use the correct terminology. That'll be fun. When I was cleaning up after the last game, I put a 9 casualty marker inside of the 1 container I have for, the single casualty. So when I first went into that little container to grab out a casualty marker, I pulled out a 9. I'm like, holy cow, they really smoked them. Just 1 casualty on those gentlemen. Nothing too bad. Yeah, 9 would never happen on skirmishers anyway. Just wipe out 3 bases. Now we'll go down the line of the French. They got, what are they? They have 5 shots across at these British of General, who's this, Hay? Yep. Those voltigeurs inflict 1 casualty onto the British riflemen. Now we slide down the river. Literally. We've got these gentlemen firing across the stream at these guys from General, is this Robinson's brigade of the, that's the 2nd brigade. I did mention in the pre-battle video that this brigade only had 4 skirmish bases. Actually had 5 because there was 5 battalions in the regiment. Or 5 battalions in the brigade, excuse me. So they would get 6 shots, losing 1, going down to 5. And no offense to everyone in the reserves, they shoot like they haven't drilled in a while. No effect, they just blast away, they kill some fish. And then the final skirmish shooting will be this large brigade or large battalion inside of this built-up area. I got to check to see if they get an extra shot for that, and then they'll be firing across and losing 1 die for shooting at these gentlemen across the river. Just as a garrison gets 5 shots, I'm going to give them 6. You can give me heck for getting it wrong, just because they're a large battalion garrison. There's got to be some kind of benefit to that besides maybe hand-to-hand later on. So 6 shots, dropping down to 5, firing across the river Zadorra. Those gentlemen suffer 1 casualty, and that'll end the skirmish firing phase. Go on to artillery. British guns shooting first. They've only got 1 artillery battery on the table right now. It's over here. And let me check the range. They are elevated, and they're 9-pounders. These gentlemen are firing across the river. They're going to ignore the skirmish line because they're firing round shot. They're going to fire at the Frenchmen. The French were aware of the British guns, so they did ooze out to more than just slightly over 3 inches of separation between the 2 battalions. So there will not be bounce through. These guns are going to open up and let them have it. They will lose. They'll take 1 penalty for being a long-range shot. So this will be inferior battery fire at that French line battalion. I'm 90% sure you can't take a low on ammo on your first shot, but I think you can take a fatigue casualty. I'm going to give them one anyway. Maybe they just got tired from pushing the gun up onto this hill before the battle and went right into action right away. Alright, so they take a fatigue casualty, no effect on the French guns. The French are going to fire back. This battery here does not have artillery assault. They're going to fire across at the second Queen Zone. The British also separated over 3 inches, so this will be an inferior battery fire. Those gentlemen suffer 1 casualty, and now the other French gun will do the same thing and firing at the 28th, but they'll get an extra 2 CDs for having artillery fire going. The 28th suffers 2 casualties from that shooting, and we have no volley fire and there's no melee, so that'll bring turn 1 to an end. But it's great having, well, it's great playing GDA again, great playing Napoleonics, and I'm pumped. All right, so that'll end turn 1, and we're going on to turn 2. All right, we'll see you in a minute. All right, time for turn 2. Both sides will be rolling 5 ADCs. Let's see how many we get. The British end up with 3 ADCs. The French end up with 4. General Robinson's going to use a skirmish tasking and a reroll for 2nd Brigade. And then down here, because he doesn't need a reroll, General Stedman is going to use a skirmish tasking and then uses Bold Brigadier to get a reroll. French have 4. Let's see what they can do. French are also going to juice up their skirmish firing. We'll get one over here for oh gosh, this guy's name, La Martiniere. He's 3rd Brigade, no, 2nd Brigade. He's going to get a skirmish tasking and a reroll for his boys. And then General Maynet is going to get a skirmish tasking and a reroll. That'll burn all 4 of the ADCs for the French. So General Gauthier will be by himself. And we'll see what's active now. British will go first because they won initiative last turn. Everything's active for the forces of General Graham. That's 2 turns in a row. That's awesome. Let's see how the French do with their 3 brigades on table. And the forces of General Rail are also active, so nothing's hesitant. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit, but that's okay. All right, so we'll do a straight up initiative roll. Both sides rolling 2d6. General Graham will eke it out again with a 7 versus the French 6. British will have initiative, and boom, no charges. So we're going to be up to, movement first. So after the movement phase, a little bit of gameliness, I guess, getting ready to attack over the bridges. Over here, the KGL Light Battalions both went into skirmish formation. They are veterans, so they also moved on top of changing formation. There are 2 trailing battalions, the 69th and the 3rd. Both just moved forward 6 inches. These gentlemen started whose brigade is this? Robinson's brigade. They just started moving into like more of a heavy column, keep maintaining distance between them, but not too concerned of artillery fire because of the French don't have a gun over here that can reach them. In the center here, General Hayes' boys, he has 2 battalions that are veteran up front, the 2nd and the 28th. They both changed into column of companies and advanced forward 9 inches. The 2 trailing battalions, the 45th and the 59th, just changed formation, preparing to storm the bridge. Over here in the final British brigade under General Stedman, the 60th moved forward, so they're in range now to engage. And also, all three of these battalions are veterans, so they formed the columns of companies and started moving forward towards the bridge as well. So lots of stuff going on over here on the British side, preparing for assaulting across the bridge, which will probably suck. French just decided to take action to maximize their defense if the British come charging across. Two trailing battalions changed into attack column behind a line column. They're about 9 inches over the bridge. That way they'll get two supports if the British come across, and they'll also get the firing of a line with two supports. So that'll be, and they've kind of repeated this across the entire front over here. These two battalions formed into attack column behind them, and then over here we've got a massive one since they have a bigger brigade. All three of them formed up on the right, left, and center. So they're preparing for that, and boom, they're going to need it too, because these guys are all reserves against veteran troops. All right, that is the end of movement. There's no reserve movement yet, and we're going to skirmish fire, starting with the British. Start down here with General Halkett's gentlemen, firing against the garrison of Abu Checo. Once again, these guys have 5 bases of rifles, so it'll be 7 shots. They will lose 3 of them, going down to 4. Oh, great shooting by those riflemen, doing 2 casualties to the garrison. I think they'll be up to 3 now. Next down the line will be General what's this guy's name? Robinson's 4 skirmish bases of rifles with the skirmish tasking, firing across the river, losing 1 firepower factor. That'll give them 7 shots. Terrible shooting. Oh gosh, must be some fog on that river this morning. Just 1 casualty to the French. They're up to 2 now. All right, here in the center for General Hayes' brigade, we have 4 skirmish bases. Would be firing 6 shots, losing 1 across the river. Inflicting 1 casualty on those French light infantry. They're not light infantry, sorry, skirmishers. They're up to 2 now. No bases yet removed. Over here, General Stedman has a skirmish tasking, so you can only put it on 1. I think I'm going to put it on the 95th Rifle. Oh, sorry, the 60th Royal American, who are in skirmish order. They usually get 5 shots, extra shot for being riflemen, plus the skirmish tasking, and then lose 1 for shooting across the river. So they'll be bringing 7 shots home for them. French skirmish line suffers 2 casualties. Now they have to take a discipline check, looking for a 7 to pass. Alright, they passed that like a boss. Now we go down here. These guys are going to lose 3 shots firing into the garrison across the river. Give me a minute here. Math's not my strong suit. 4 shots against the garrison. No effect. Alright, we'll start off with the French over here in, what's the name of this town? Durana, or built up area. They're going to fire 5 shots, going down to 4 across the river at the Highlanders. They inflict a 2nd casualty on those gentlemen. Over here, these Frenchmen will be firing at the 60th Royal American in skirmish order. They would have 5 shots, but they go down to 4. The 60th suffers a casualties. We slide down to the right here. We'll have these 5 French skirmish bases, normally firing 6 shots, going down to 5 against the Hayes Brigade skirmish screen. And I forgot, they're on the skirmish tasking, so that'll pump it up to 7 shots. Yes, baby, here we go. They pump it up to 2 casualties for those gentlemen. Not the best shooting yet for skirmishers. Alright, over here, another skirmish tasking. This time they have 5 bases firing across the river at these gentlemen. Excuse me, got the hiccups. 7 shots against the British rifles across here. Reservists continue to struggle with their marksmanship. Finally, the final unit to shoot in a skirmish phase will be this large battalion. They would have 6 shots, going down to 5 because they are large, and they're going to fire at these boys across the river. No effect on those gentlemen. All looking good. I think these boys over here are going to look to get their light infantry up on line with these gentlemen and basically just overwhelm the defenders of Abu Checo with just a harassment fire from skirmishers. They can do some damage. Okay, that ends the skirmish firing. The British will fire their 1 artillery piece of that same battalion. It'll be inferior blast again, and no bounce through. British guns continue to struggle to find the range as their round shot lands in the river. Oh, not good. All right, French guns firing back at somebody. Both French artillery pieces are going to fire at the second Queen Zone. No bounce through to anybody. And they'll both be inferior shots. Actually, I changed my mind. These gentlemen will fire down the road at the 28th as they come down the river. First up, these gentlemen against the second inferior blast. No effect against the second. They love it. And now firing down the road across the bridge at the 28th. Another inferior artillery blast. 28th goes up to 3 casualties. And that will bring an end to turn 2. Just a lot of prep work here, and the British are hoping to reduce some of these defenses to make it across, but at some point the French guns are going to start rolling 10s and 12s, and just they're going to have nothing to cross the bridge at that point. I think the big push will be over here, trying to take this bridge. So the French might be identifying that for some of their reinforcements, which is turn 3, so we can start dedicating reserve taskings if needed. And then the British are playing the long game, so they got 18 turns. We'll see what they do as well. All right, we'll see you in turn 3. You guys are awesome. All right, time for turn 3. Both sides once again rolling 5 ADCs, and now we have the ability to bring in reserves if needed. Not sure if they are yet. Maybe. I don't know. We'll think about it. See how they roll. All right, let's get those ADCs rolled. Both sides end up with 4 ADCs. I'll have to think about it a little bit. British will be placing their ADCs first because they won initiative last turn. All right, the British are going to put everything they've got into this brigade over here. They're going to do 3 skirmish taskings, 1 on each light infantry battalion and 1 on their skirmish screen. And they're all going to just unload into this fortification of Abu Checo. Abu Chuco, and try to wear it out. So that sucks. So that's 4 ADCs right there. French are going to put a skirmish tasking and a reroll over here on General Lamartiniere, and they're also going to do a reserve with an ADC reroll on their infantry reserve brigade and start bringing in over here. I already know that since the British are bringing 2 brigades of infantry over here, they're going to try to reinforce that and then save their cavalry probably for the center. All right, let's roll the British first. They'll roll their 4 brigades that are on table for their see who's active and who's not. Well, that streak of non-hesitant brigades couldn't last forever. General Robinson and General Halkett, or General Hay, excuse me, in the center, both go hesitant for the British, which will give them 4d6, taking the lowest 2 for initiative. And meanwhile, this massive skirmish tasking does go off. And also at the other end, the Highland Brigade, also with the 60th Royal American, will be going off too. So 2 of the 4, not so good. All right, let's see how the French do. The French have General Gauthier on their far right go hesitant, but everything else is active, and their reserve brigade will come in, which will be pretty cool. All right. They'll come in 9 inches on the reserve movement phase after everyone else has moved. And yeah, everything else is good. So for initiative, the French will roll 3d6 taking the lower 2, and the British will roll 46 taking the lower 2. And we'll do that real quick, and then I don't think there'll be any charges, but let's not get ahead of ourselves because that's not good for me. Oh, those double ones sealed the fate for General Graham. General Rail gets steals back the initiative for the first time in this battle. He's like, yes, I told you guys I knew what to do. All right, so charges, nothing. We're into movement phase. On table first. All right, the British have over here have moved forward their skirmishing KGL battalions. Now all 3 of them are online on the creek bed, going to be unloading into the built-up area. These gentlemen did not move. French did very little movement. They were already kind of prepared how they wanted to be. These guys were hesitant. Their skirmishers edged forward to the edge of the creek bed, nothing exciting. And over here, just a slight move by the 3 Highland battalions, moving closer to the bridge, but they're not in a big hurry. They want to let the skirmishers kind of do their work and soften up the attack before they go over. That's about it for movement for on table. Now we'll go to off table movement as the French reserves will arrive. All right, General Boyer arrives with 5th Brigade. He has the 1st and 2nd Battalions of the 5th Léger and the 1st and 2nd Battalions of the 27th Regiment. Those are line. So these are Grenadier here. He has 5 skirmish bases with him thanks to the Léger battalions he has. And boom, here they come. All right, that'll end movement phase for this turn. We'll go on to skirmish shooting, and hopefully the French can do a little bit of something, especially over here before they get eviscerated by the onslaught they're about to face. Speaking of which, we'll start with these gentlemen down here. They have, I give them 6 shots, but they go down to 5, shooting across the river. They are going to shoot at the gentlemen they've already been hitting, which are the skirmish screen. They inflict a 2nd casualty on those gentlemen. All right, this skirmish screen over here, they have the skirmish tasking. So they have 5 bases. 6 shots going up to 8, losing 1, going down to 7 shots against these gentlemen. They were able to do 2 casualties, blowing away a skirmish base, cutting them down to 3. That might pay dividends later. We'll see. These French over here, they still have 5 bases. So they would go to 6 shots, down to 5 again across the stream against these gentlemen. They're able to inflict a casualty on them. That'll blow away a skirmish base, reducing them by 1. Now we'll get over here. They have 4 shots going up to 5, back down to 4 again against the 60th Royal American. No effect on those gentlemen, and then the garrison will fire 4 shots across at the Highlanders. They inflict a casualty on them, removing a skirmish base when they take their 3rd casualty on one of them. All right, now that finishes the French skirmish fire. British are going to fire back. They have 4 bases here. Goes up to 5, goes up to 6 with rifles, and then they lose 3 for shooting it over a river against a built-up area. So 3 shots. No effect against the garrison. The 60th Royal American, they would normally have 5 shots, but they get an extra one for being veterans and rifles, I think, or just rifles, excuse me. So 6 shots, but losing 1. Down to 5, firing at the French across the river. French skirmish screen suffers 1 casualty. They had 1 base with 2, so they lose a base. Moving down, now we've got 3 British rifles bases firing across at the French. 4 shots against them. They inflict a casualty on them. They already had a base with 2, so they will lose a base. All right, General, who's this? General Robinson's skirmish bases. They're going to fire 4 shots at the Frenchmen across the river. This is the turn where everything just kind of pays off. You know, 1 casualty at a time. They're nickel and diming them. They'll lose a base, and that's it. Just taking 1 casualty. And here comes the machine gun against Abu Checo. Or Abu Checo? Sorry, every time's different. All right, the light infantry here. They're going to fire. These guys don't have rifles, though. I guess they wouldn't. KGL lights. They might, but I'm going to play them that they don't. So they would get 5 shots, but they have the skirmish task and go up to 7. Now they're going to lose 3, so oh, hang on, plus the skirmish tasking. 1 second, let me redo my math. I was doing good, I just confused myself. 4 shots against these gentlemen with a skirmish tasking. They raised them to 4. They are reservists. They're a large battalion. Let me just see if there's any bonuses to that discipline check. I don't think there is. All right, reservists get a promotion if they're in column or square. I don't think they get a promotion if they're in garrison or if they're large, which would have been nice. So they will save as reservists. I was debating about using a battalion gun on this to, you can skip a discipline check by using one of the 3. I'm going to hold off on this. We're going to go for it. We're looking for an 8+. Oh, they love it and they pass. All right, next shot. Here come these guys with the skirmish tasking. With their skirmish tasking and losing the shots against the built-up area, they still end up with 6 dice. And here they go, throwing them at them. Oh, now they're up to 5 casualties. Still 1 more light battalion to fire at them. We're talking 5. Oh, I'm not going to do my math in front of you guys. I'll be right back with how many shots. 4 more shots against these gentlemen. See what happens. That's what the French needed, a lucky break. No effect. They had their walls protect them. All right. Woo. That was a good skirmish round. We'll go on into artillery fire. French battery over here of Gauthiers. Oh, they have to shoot that far because they're hesitant. They can't fire at all. No firing from them because I forgot the brigade is hesitant, so they can only fire out to effective range. These gentlemen are not hesitant. They're going to fire straight ahead at the 28th. One more time. 28th's getting rocked. They're up to 5 casualties now, and they have to take a discipline check. They are a veteran battalion, so they'll be looking for 6s to pass. Oh yeah, they love it. They are 1 away from being warned. They have been getting pummeled by the artillery. All right, now the British gun, who hasn't hit anything yet, is going to fire across at these gentlemen. Yeah, get it, son. These guys are in some kind of command crisis. They need a new gunner, new commander over there. I think a second fatigue casualty. Maybe need some Gatorade too. Terrible. All right, but that will end. Did that turn 3? Oh yeah, baby. I think we're 33% done with the first part of this video. That's some math we didn't need to know. All right, heading on to turn 4. French won last initiative, so we'll see in a second. Alright, time for turn 4. Let's roll those ADCs. Both sides still rolling 5 dice until their cavalry brigades arrive. Alright, let's do this. Alright, for ADC placements, the French have 4 ADCs. They put 2 artillery assaults down, 1 on each battery. They don't have enough for a reroll. So that's a bit daring do. And the British only got 2. So they did a reserve tasking to bring in their infantry, and they have a reroll on that. Alright. Yuck. Well, let's go to the French first. French really screw it up. Only Menet's brigade is active. All the other 3 are all hesitant. What a nightmare. Maybe if they win against the initiative, they can give it away or something like that and do core. What is it called? I can't remember. Now's your time or something. And you can give up the initiative for 1 brigade back or battalion. I don't know. I'm mumbling now. All right. That wasn't good. So they're rolling 5d6 in initiative right now. All right, let's check and see how the British do for their active brigades. General Hayes not excited about that bridge as he goes hesitant in the center. But about to get to some support. Hanoverian brigade arriving to his right. He's like, what are you guys doing here? Whoa! All right, and that's it. So the British will be rolling 3d6 versus the French 5d6. Now the Brits still chuck out a double 1 there, so Graham will lose the initiative. General Rail will maintain initiative. How important is it to keep the initiative? Give me a minute. The French will surrender the initiative back to the British so they can have General Boyer back active again. Alright, so British have the initiative for this turn. Alright, the British don't have any charges and the French don't have any charges. So let's we'll go on to movement. Alright, after movement, these guys stayed where they were up front along the river, still shooting the lights out. The Royalies Kent the Third, the Buffs, they are veteran. They switched into column of companies and advanced. The 69th is a line battalion, so they just changed companies. These guys all pivoted a little bit to the right. Nothing too exciting. Just lining up to go or maybe next, or form a line of support behind those gentlemen. In the reserve movement, the 4 Hanoverian field battalions came in with their 4 skirmishers under General Optima of the 5th Brigade. These guys are hesitant and didn't move. Their skirmishers are still up there against the river. And this is where it gets a bit funky. The Gordon Highlanders have moved on to the bridge as the 79th and the 42nd move up to support them as they go on in. So that's a bit of a game changer. We'll probably see the regimental guns shoot off inside of here at those guys firing canister, which is no fun. These guys changed formation just a little bit, so these guys are a rear support now, and these guys are officially a left support. So they'll get 2 supports when they cross the bridge. I think that's over 9 inches, so they can't shoot. Yeah, it's ugly. And then everything else was kind of hesitant, so they couldn't really do anything. Oh, these guys moved forward 9 inches with their skirmishers a little bit more because they gave up initiative to get them back to be non-hesitant. And everyone else just stayed where they were. So that's a crazy turn. All right, turn 4. It's the turn of making something out of nothing. Especially neither one of them had the amount of ADCs that were really desirable, and or didn't get hesitant on everything. Probably shouldn't have gone those 2 artillery assaults for the French, but that's okay. And there's a look at the Hanoverians coming in, filing in behind these guys. All right, let's go some skirmish shooting. All right, British, Germans, and are going to be shooting first. We'll start off here with the Highland skirmish line. I have 4 bases with rifles shooting over water at a built-up area. We're going to push out 3 shots at these guys. Oh yeah, they finally inflict our first casualty on the 1st Battalion, 118th. 60th Royal American firing 5 shots. They were firing 6, but I lose 1. And they're firing at those 3 remaining French skirmish bases. British rifles find the range, inflict 2 casualties onto that skirmish line. Nice. You see the Highlanders racing for the bridge. These guys putting their regimental gun between that gate to fire at them on the way. Have fun, baby. Moving down the line, these British skirmishers fire would be 4 shots at these French across the river. They inflict a casualty on them. Sliding on down, we've got these 3 skirmish bases firing at these gentlemen. Be 4 shots. Alright, no effect on them. Now we go into the buzzsaw as we start off with the 1st KGL Light Battalion firing at the garrison. I forgot it's only going to be 2 shots without a skirmish tasking. It's going to be rough. They have no effect. Next up is these 5 skirmish bases from the brigade skirmish line. They'll get 7 shots, losing 3, going down to 4 shots. They inflict a casualty, taking them up to 6, and then the final light battalion will fire 2 shots across the water at those guys in the built-up area. That pushes them up to 7 casualties. They are worn now. Not looking good. They're just winning the game over here. Alright, French shooting back. Let me see. I can't remember if worn has an effect on skirmish fire. It does. They're only going to fire... They start at 6. They go down to 5. They fire across... They go 4 shots now across the stream. They'll fire at the skirmish line. If you add all those together, they'd get 1 hit. No effect. That would get half a casualty, excuse me. These skirmishers will fire 4 shots across at these gentlemen. They inflict a casualty on them. Nice. Alright, sliding down the road. We've got 4 bases of French shooting across the river, dropping down to 4 shots against these gentlemen. They put a casualty on them. Moving down here, we'll get 4 shots dropping down to 3 against... Ooh. They're going to fire against the Gordon Highlanders. Try to put some casualties on them. They put 1 casualty on those gentlemen, and the garrison will also fire at these guys with 4 shots. They're up to 2 casualties as they step onto the bridge. Alright, going on to artillery. We'll do the British guns firing at long range against that column out there. See what kind of casualties they can do on them. They reach out and touch somebody. They take one casualty on the 1st Battalion, 119th. Alright, going to French artillery. General Gauthier's brigade will put their regimental gun out the window here and fire a canister blast from a 6-pounder or 4-pounder, whatever it is, against a Black Watch coming across the bridge. There will get bounced through or penetration into the 60th Royal American as well. So we'll get 3 CDs on these gentlemen because of the canister, and they're in column. And it's at close, very close range. All right, here we go. All right, the garrison at Tirana has used one of their 3 actions with their regimental gun. They inflict 2 more casualties and a discipline check on the Gordon Highlanders. They're up to 4. Some of those ball bearings do fly through and inflict a casualty on the 60th Royal American. They're up to 2 casualties now, and now we'll do a discipline check on a veteran unit needing a 6. Oh baby, they squeezed by. Alright, that's crazy. Alright, these French guns on assault fire at long range. Everything else is too close to the French line, so they're going to fire at the Black Watch back here with 2 extra CDs and inferior blast. They find the range on them, inflicting 4 casualties, and they're going to force a discipline check on these guys, looking for a 6 or more. They also squeeze by and pass that discipline check. Good job, gents. All right, moving down the line. This next French gun, I don't think it can fire because it's from a hesitant brigade. They can't fire to a long range, so they're hosed. And the garrison from Abu Checo is debating about firing a regimental gun across at these gentlemen. I know they get 1 minus because they're skirmishers. They'd get another, so it would be terrible. They'd roll 3 CDs, but there's a good chance they won't do any damage to them. So they're going to hold their fire. And that'll end turn 4. Sweet. Got everything's on the table except for the both cavalry brigades. And we've got our first British or German unit with their foot on the bridge and paying the price for it. As these gentlemen are, they got pretty smacked around by artillery and skirmish fire. All right, we'll see you in turn 5. The British won initiative because the French gave it up. But, you know, that had to be done, I think, in my opinion. All right, we'll see you later. Alright, low-level shots. Time for turn 5. Things are about to get crazy. Here come the Brits. See what kind of ADCs we can get this turn. Pushing hard on 2 of the bridges so far. The center bridge has been... General Hay has been hesitant 2 turns in a row. See if he can save it. All right, here we go. Let's roll for ADCs. Both sides get 5 ADCs, so British are going to hammer hard again with the skirmish tasking. 3 different skirmish taskings over here on Robinson's brigade. Actually, that's not Robinson's brigade, it's Halkett's brigade, as the 2 KGL light brigades and their skirmish screen all get skirmish tasking, a reroll on the brigade, and also the reserve tasking to bring in Ansom's cavalry brigade. And that will be it. No reroll on that one. The French do ADC rerolls on every single brigade, and their 1 remaining ADC they put over on Gauthier for the garrison of Girona to get a skirmish tasking, try to hammer down on the Highlanders coming across the bridge. Go ahead and roll for the British brigades first. See how they do. Plus double rolling for their reserve cavalry brigade to come on. All 6 British brigades are going to be active, plus the reserves are going to come in. Somewhere 18 inches off the center, probably to the left, I'm guessing. But that doesn't have to be decided till after the movement phase. And now the French will see if they're connected with their 4 brigades. Oh wow, everything on the French side is also active. So both sides will be rolling 2d6 for initiative. Let's see who wins. Oh yes. General Graham will not be denied. Yes. He keeps the initiative. He didn't win it last turn, but he got it back when the entire division of rails went hesitant. So British are active again. No charges. Oh, maybe I should have done a charge. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Go on to on-table movement first. I'll be right back when everybody's done, and we'll kind of do an overhead to discuss everything that happened. All right, be right back. All right, first things happen is the Gordon Highlanders are going to cross the bridge because they're veterans and then form into line. As they cross the bridge, they're going to get hammered by Girona's second action from their regimental cannon, and these skirmishers are going to fire 4 shots and fall back. Actually, they won't be hammered by the cannon because they'll just wait for the artillery phase. So just the skirmishers are going to fire 4 shots and fall away. Alright, they do suffer an additional casualty going up to 5. So I'm really going to need my pointer for this one. Over here, we'll go from the British left to right. British Highland skirmishers stayed where they were, and possibly, engaging up here. The Gordon Highlanders crossed the bridge. They're veterans, and then formed into line. You're allowed to change formations and move if you're veterans. Right behind them, these guys are in skirmish formation. They moved across the bridge quickly, and they changed formation to line. So the British have 2 units across the bridge. They're also bringing the Cameron Highlanders and the Black Watch up to support. Their gun, it's in a 45-degree arc, is going to do counter battery fire. The French, seeing them coming across, basically these guys stayed in line. These guys are going to use their regimental gun on somebody. These guys changed out of column into line. They're also going to fire. They're still in supporting mode, so they stayed there. Not a lot of movement up front here for the French, but the British did send the 2nd Queen's Own to the bridge. They're following them up here. The Hanoverians moved up. They put their skirmishers out front. Now they've engaged the garrison, the Frenchmen here. In the reserve phase, British cavalry came on, deployed their gun here. Won't be able to shoot this turn, but he's got a good line of sight to that gentleman there. And then finally over here, the British didn't do a lot. They're just going to try to continue to wear the French down with skirmish firing, but the French have brought up this brigade, and that's it. They're moving up, and their skirmishers will hopefully get up here and do some good next turn.
All right, so that was a lot. Wow. Okay, let's go on to skirmish shooting now. So we'll start off with the British. All right, 4 base of Highlanders. They've got rifles, so they'll go up to 6, and they'll lose 3 shots from firing across the wall at the garrison. They inflict a second casualty on the garrison, which is the 118th, the 1st Battalion in Girona. Moving down, now we've got 3 British riflemen firing across the river, going down to 4 shots against these French voltigeurs. They inflict a second casualty on those gentlemen. Now for their first time engaging in this fight, the Hanoverian skirmishers, which are riflemen, are going to fire. They have 6 shots. They're going to lose 3 for firing across at a garrison. They'll go down to 3 shots. Their shots bang off the walls of Gomorra Mayor. No effect. Now we've got these 3 British rifle bases shooting 4 shots across at the French on the other side of the river. They inflict a casualty on them, and now we've got the firing squad shooting at Abachuco, trying to wear them out. We'll start off with the KGL battalion to the left, which is the 2nd Battalion. They'd have 7 shots, losing 3, going down to 4. They inflict 1 casualty. I might as well stick with this theme and do the 1st Battalion KGL Light. They're going to fire 4 shots as well at the same garrison. They're up to 9 casualties now, and they have to make a discipline check from the 6 that was in there. So now they're going to be saving his probably enfant perdu. They're going to go ahead and use one of their regimental gun abilities to skip this discipline check. They're going down to 2 shots left with their gun. And then finally the skirmish screen would normally have 9 shots, losing 3, taking 6 shots at Abucheco with the skirmish tasking. They do 2 more casualties, raising to 11. And the garrison will once again use one of their regimental gun powers to avoid a discipline check. They are a large battalion, but they're up to 11 casualties now. Oh, but they're reserves. Let me see if they even break. I can't remember when large reserve battalions break. 1 second. Yeah, they disperse with 1 more casualty. They should be switching out of garrison duty after this one, and then probably move in the 2nd Battalion, 116th. That ends the British skirmish shooting. French will start off down here. The garrison is now worn, so they're going to only fire 4 shots, losing 1 across the river. They're going to fire 3 shots, and they'll fire at the skirmish line. They have no effect. They're just emotionally, it's getting emotional in there, as Scott would say. They're getting tore up. They're passing out the happy pills, trying to keep them in. They'll be bailing out next turn. Even if I forget, they're going. I'll do it anyway, because that's just the sane move, is to bail out of that garrison. They'll be unformed, and the other guys will move in unformed. This skirmish screen here, 4 voltigeurs will fire 5 shots, losing 1, go down to 4 against these skirmishers. They're up to 2 casualties. Sliding down the line, we've got the garrison of Gomorra Mayor firing across the river at these gentlemen. It'll be 4 shots. Hanoverian skirmish line suffers a casualty. Now we've got these 4 bases of voltigeurs firing across the river at the British, and they're going to get 5 shots, going down to 4. They raised them to 2 casualties, and now the final skirmish shot will be the garrison of Girona. They're going to fire right next into the Gordon Highlanders, who formed line. They do have the skirmish tasking, so they'll get 7 shots. They do 3 casualties on them, raising them to 8. They are now worn. All right, that ends skirmish shooting. Now, this British gun will fire a inferior blast at these gentlemen across the way. British guns from here on out will be combining fire on that one French battery, I'm sure. 1st Brigade's 6-pound artillery battery suffers 1 casualty from that blast, letting them know they're there. What else? I think that's all the British have for artillery. The French have got a couple things to shoot. Yeah, they're going to have some fun here. First off, these guys are going to use ability number 2 from Girona and fire a canister shot into the Gordon Highlanders. Oh, they hammer them. They take 3 casualties. They go up to 11. Let me check that. I might have got more, actually. No, that's 4 casualties. They go up to 12 and disperse, faltering the brigade. They get hammered. And rounds will go through into the 95th. I forgot to do that. Or into the 60th. All right, Stedman's brigade falters. And it shows it's a heavy price crossing that bridge. Those guys got just blasted. The Girona guns got 1 ability left. The Gamora Mayor has got all 3 of theirs. And the Abochuco has got 1 left themselves. I have to look around and try to do my best to pronounce that name right. These guys are too close to these other guys, but the Black Watch over there on the other side of the bridge, I got to check the range, but they're going to let them have it. This artillery battery of the French. It's still a long-range shot into these gentlemen, so it'll be an inferior blast. No bounce through anybody near them. Before I do, I think they have to make a discipline check if they get fired on. If nothing's at effective range, they have to respond with the blast against the British guns. So I'll see if they can pass that discipline check. They do not, so that 7 will actually be on these British guns, doing a casualty on them, raising them to 3. Yes, the British guns took a 3rd casualty, but they did draw the fire of the French guns off the infantry. Plus, they were able to inflict 1 casualty onto the French gun, so that's something. The other French gun is just going to fire straight down the gut. It's over 24 inches, so it's going to be a long-range shot with bounce through the 2nd into the 28th. It's outside effective range, so there's no extra casualty dice for being in column of companies. Second Queen Zone takes a 2nd casualty. There's no bounce through into the 28th. All right, that ends in artillery shooting, and now I think we have 2, well, down to 1 volley fire for the British and 2 for the French. Now, technically, this attack column, or column of companies of the British, the Cameron Highlanders, can fire 1 shot straight ahead into the French. We'll do that first. I guess there would be, they are a disciplined unit, so I think they get to fire 1 more CD because they're veteran. They have no effect. So the 60th Royal American's going to cut loose with a veteran volley into those Frenchmen right in front of them. They did move, so if they get a 10, it'll drop into the 10 moved category. 1st Battalion, 119th, takes 3 casualties, going up to 4 after that volley. Now we'll get 2 French volleys. Those guys are outside 3 inches, so they won't get any of the extra combat dice. But the 2nd Battalion, 118th, firing into the Cameron Highlanders coming across the bridge. They panic a little bit and get a fire discipline. Now the 1st Battalion, 119th, they're going to fire into the 60th Royal American. French reservists, sorry, the French infantry should have, they were reservists. They should have wore the brown pants. Both units kind of choke and get a fire discipline. And that'll end turn 5 as we head to turn 6. We do have a a faltering British brigade. British cavalry is on board. I'm sure General Rail will be countering with the French cavalry in a minute. And things are going pretty dang awesome at Zadorra River, excuse me. All right, and that's it. So we'll see you in a minute. You guys are awesome. This is great. All right, it's turn 6. Everything's on the board except for the French cavalry brigade. And for this turn, the British will be rolling 6 ADCs and the French will be rolling 5. All right, the British are going to do the rally order. They automatically get a reroll down here because this brigade is faltering after losing the Gordon Highlanders. So that's 1. They're going to do a glory, an infantry assault, and a reroll on Hay crossing the bridge. And just a skirmish tasking on its own on the on the skirmish screen over here. And that's on Halkett. French are going to do all 3 of their ADCs into reserve, forwards, and a reroll to bring on their cavalry. Probably somewhere in this area so they can go either direction. Just kind of be on standby, hopefully not with a hit me sign on it for the guns. Try to stay out of range for that. But we'll see. Do some tactical thinking on that one. Do Graham's command first to see who's active and who's not and how this rally goes. Alright, Halkett passes. Robinson goes hesitant. Antida passes. Hay passes. Is that right? One second. God, Robinson went hesitant over there. Hay passed. Anson goes hesitant with the British cavalry. And then Stedman up here, he rallied with a 6, but he goes hesitant. So they ended with 3 hesitant brigades, rolling 5 dice, taking the lowest 2 for the initiative for turn 6. All right, let's see how the 5 French brigades do for their roll. General Gauthier on the French defense over Durana. He goes hesitant on the French right. And then also General Boyer coming down the hill with 5th Brigade to reinforce the left of the French line, also goes hesitant. So the French have 2 hesitant brigades. You know what that means. They're rolling 4 dice, taking the lowest 2, compared to the British taking 5 of the lowest 2. All right, so let's do initiative real quick. Both sides got a 4. General Graham won initiative last turn, so he will maintain initiative. British, yes, keeping it up, baby. All right, turn 6. We'll go. I think we have charges. We got 1. We have General Hay going across the bridge with the 2nd Queen's Own. So General Hay leads his wonderful boys across the center bridge at Gamara Mayor, and he's going to get drilled with all kinds of traversing fire. The garrison at Gamara Mayor is going to fire at him as they go steaming past. The skirmishers of that brigade are going to fire at them as they come across the bridge. The regimental gun is going to be fired at them with canister fire as they cross the bridge. And then the French Léger Battalion, that's Grenadier, is going to fire a disciplined volley at them as they close in. They run headlong into an absolute firestorm of musket balls and ball bearings, just going to shred them. Technically, well, yeah, I guess they could fire as they come across the bridge. The skirmishers are all over the place. All right, so let's start off with these skirmishers that come across the bridge. The French have 4 bases. They're going to shoot 5 shots at that second queen zone. They inflict 1 casualty on those gentlemen. Now the garrison at Gamara Mayor is going to fire 5 shots at them as well. All right, they suffer 2 more casualties, going up to 5. Now the regimental artillery guns will be pointed out the gate and fire a canister at them with 2 CDs. They get absolutely hammered by the French artillery piece. A little 4-pounder just rakes them with ball bearings. They take 4 more casualties, take a discipline check. They're up to 9 now. They're going to save as just line troops, looking for a 7. Break out the Vitoria crosses. They stomach that one as they get thrashed. Now they get the Grenadier volley into a column. So blast a standard volley with 2 extra CDs as they come on in to those Grenadier battalion. They take 2 more casualties, going up to 11. Oh, they're 1 away from breaking as they reach the point to achieve the charge, but they, of course, they took over 3 casualties, and they're worn. I'm not sure if that's going to be 4 dice on this charge or not. All right, the British will be rolling 4d6 against the French 2d6. The British are going to get 2 re-rolls, one for their supporting battalion, the 28th behind them on the bridge, and the fact that they're veteran versus Grenadier. The French have 2 supporting battalions, so they'll get 2 re-rolls. Oh, after the initial clash, the French have a 9, the British have a 6. The Queen Zone are going to use their own just we're better than you ability and try to re-roll one of those 3s. They're just too worn out from that slaughter fest going across the bridge. They're not able to get any better than they did. Now the 28th will swarm through their ranks and try to reinforce the charge. The 28th stumble in. Oh, they make it worse. Right now they're down by 5. French are going to push the envelope, bring in their supporting battalion on their right, and try to crush them. Try to beat that 3. And the 2nd Battalion, 65th, rushes in and absolutely just turns the tide in an already lopsided battle coming across a bridge. And they're going to force a -6 loss to these gentlemen crossing the bridge. Basically the worst effect you can get on a charge. The 2nd Queen Zone will get a broken result. They'll take retreat and take 4 CDs. The 28th will withdraw and take 1 CD. We'll have to see if the 2nd Queen Zone even survives this. They have 1 casualty before they disperse. The 28th go up to 6 casualties. They'll fall back 9 inches. Or actually, they'll fall back behind their supports. The 2nd Queen Zone take that 1 casualty, and they disperse and flee back through the British lines. And the first push across the Gamora Mayor Bridge is repulsed by the French. That will falter Hayes' brigade. Glory was at play, so he will also take a risk to general since he charged across the bridge like just an absolute bad mambo jambo. All right, let's see if he gets smoked. So Hay falls back with his troops. The 28th is back here behind the 59th, and that brigade is now faltering. That was the only charge, thankfully, for the British. And now we go on into the movement phase. All right, a lot of hesitant brigades on the table, but there'll be some stuff will be moving. The British don't move very much because of a lot of hesitant stuff they had and a lot of just little localized pushes to try to get lucky and wear down the French just because they have a numerical superiority. But the Hanoverians under Antida did move forward to line themselves up for the next bridge assault over the Zadorra against Gamora Mayor. These guys couldn't move any closer, and the cavalry was stationary, so nothing going on down here. And over here it's doing nothing too. French were basically going to hold in place, but we need to see the forwards tasking of their cavalry coming on the board. All right, General Courteau leads on two brigades of French, or two regiments of French dragoons looking to do some badness. Can't speak this morning. What's going on? They're hiding behind the trees right now so they don't get shellacked by British guns. But they're in a position to support Girona if things go badly over there. But so far, the French are holding them tight. This is a better look at those French dragoons as they come onto the gaming table from back there onto the battlefield. All right, that'll take us into skirmish shooting. There wasn't a lot of movement. No point doing an overhead, really. It was just the Hanoverians moved and the cavalry came on. And that's about it. Everything else was just trying to get their act together this turn. So now we'll do, what do we do next? Yeah, we'll do skirmish shooting, starting with the British. Down here, the Highland skirmishers firing across the bridge into Girona. They would normally have 6 shots, losing 3, going down to 3 shots. They put a 3rd casualty onto that garrison in there, so they're up to, they're up to 3. And the one thing I said during the movement phase that even if I forgot it, I would do it. This garrison is going to pull out of Abachuco, and the 2nd Battalion, 118th, is going to move in. Both units will be unformed. All right, and that has happened. There they are. Also, I forgot to take off the fire discipline off those guys down there, French line units. They both just kind of failed when the firing at the Gordon Highlanders earlier. All right, so now we go on to the next skirmish shooting, moving down the road towards Gamara Mayor. It's time for some payback. This will be some unopposed shooting because the French have already fired. These riflemen, we're going to fire, what do they get? 5 shots down to 4 against the French voltigeurs. They inflict a casualty onto that skirmish base, removing a base, knocking the French down to 3. Moving down the line, the Hanoverian riflemen will now fire 3 shots at Gamara Mayor, trying to wear that garrison down. No effect versus that garrison. Now we'll get some British skirmishers from Robinson's brigade. They're going to be firing across the river at the French next to the bridge. They'll get 4 shots after losing 1. No impact at all. 2nd Battalion KGL Lights, they're going to fire at that same battalion over there. They'll get 4 shots at them. By battalion, I meant skirmish screen for them, so they have no effect either. Now we'll get the British skirmishers here firing into the new battalion that just moved into Abachuco. They have the skirmish tasking, and they have 5 bases, so 7, 9 shots, losing 6 shots against them. They welcome those gentlemen to garrison duty with 1 casualty, and then the 1st KGL Light normally have 5 shots, losing 3 of them firing at the garrison, down to 2. Alright, no effect there. Now the garrison is going to fire back at those skirmish bases over here. They would normally have 5 shots. They're unformed. They drop down to 4. They're firing across the river. They drop to 3. No effect on those British skirmishers. Now the voltigeurs across the river will fire back at these gentlemen. They would have 5 shots, dropping down to 4. They do a casualty, removing a base, dropping them to 2 bases. That was time for that British screen to withdraw. Alright, this garrison already fired. This skirmish screen already fired. We got this garrison in here. They're going to fire at the Cameron Highlanders on the bridge with 5 shots. They do 1 casualty to them. That ends skirmish shooting phase. I'll go on to British guns. This first gun fire an inferior volley over at the French guns. British guns have found the range as they fire. Do 2 casualties and a discipline check on those French artillery pieces right across the road next to a general rail. French guns rally, they pass that discipline check. Now the other British artillery piece or battery will fire at those same gentlemen with inferior blast. They inflict another casualty on those Frenchmen. I think that's, let me go ahead and check that out real quick. Yes, they're up to 4 casualties now, and they can't fire artillery assault anymore without using a caisson, or without the assistance of a caisson being spent on them. Alright, so that does finishes the British artillery. The French guns that just got hammered are going to fire at the Black Watch at the back of the bridge there with the long-range blast. Let me make sure their brigade's not hesitant. It is, so they can't shoot that far. They will not fire at all this turn. Good thing to check those things. And this battery is going to fire straight ahead. I don't think they're hesitant. They are not. Okay, they're going to fire straight ahead at the Hanoverians crossing the bridge, so we'll get bounced through the unit behind them. The Hanoverian Field Battalion from Verdun takes a casualty from that. The bounce through is not successful. That'll end the artillery phase for turn 6. We'll go on to volley fire, starting with the British. We'll get the Cameron Highlanders will fire straight ahead in the French. They get 1 die, but they'll get an extra one because they are a veteran unit and they're drilled as well. They pick up a fire discipline after rolling a 1, but they do 1 casualty to the 2nd Battalion, 118th. Now we'll get the 60th Royal American in line, veteran unit firing a blast at 1st Battalion, 119th. They do 2 more casualties to that French line battalion, who's now up to 6 casualties. They're worn. They'll probably be pulling back and making room for the French dragoons to charge down these British rifles out in the open, and they'll be right in front of a cannon, so that probably is not going to go well. It's probably do or die time here for the Highland Brigade to get across this bridge, or maybe bring a cavalry charge across. Who knows? Something stupid is brewing in my head. This will look a little different compared to my normal video. I forgot to shoot the French back with their volley fire against the British, so I've already got my SD card put into my computer, so taking it out is not a good idea. So I'm just going to edit these in after I take them over from my phone. So first off, 2nd Battalion, 118th is going to fire a volley at the Cameron Highlanders crossing the bridge. They inflicted 1 casualty on them, raising them up to 2. Now with this gentleman over here, they are worn, so they're going to fire an inferior volley against the 60th Royal American. And they inflict a 3rd casualty onto the 60th. All right, that ends the French volley fire phase. But that'll earn turn 6. Things are going absolutely crazy still, and I love it. We've had our first... We've had 2, actually, bridge assaults so far. One at Zadorra Bridge and one at the Gamara Mayor Bridge, both of which have been at least partially repulsed. One was significantly repulsed by the French, and we're only at going into turn 7 now. All right, hold on to your hats. Right back.
right, welcome to turn 7. It's getting hot. Should be good. All right, we're gonna roll for ADC availability for both sides. Now the both sides are up to rolling 6 per turn until we start losing some brigades. Okay, let's do this. All right, the British end up with 4 ADCs. The French end up with 6. General Rail is clicking. I love it. All right, let's see what we're going to do here. The British won last initiative, so they'll figure out their stuff first. All right, British have to spend 1 on Hayes' faltering brigade. They also spend an extra to give him a second chance in case he screws up on his rally attempt. Oh, that's an old hesitant marker, sorry. And then they're going to do artillery assault down here with General Stedman's brigade. Try to keep on hammering the French artillery, or if the French cavalry gets cheeky, they can hit them as well. Maybe we'll see. Just they're going to put some firepower somewhere. I got a couple ideas about what's going to happen over here, but winning initiative is going to be the big decisive factor over here at Girona. Okay, and then let's figure out the French. The French are going to go with the year of the cannon as well. General Rail's going to allocate a caisson over here to these gentlemen so they can go artillery assault, which they are granted. This is Gauthier's brigade, so they've got a re-roll with that as well. And then also Menet's brigade, they're going to go artillery assault with a re-roll. And that's all 6 of their ADCs. All right, let's check to see which brigades are active for the British. All right, here we go. So Hay will rally to hesitant, which is great. And then this whole right side fails to get their orders done correctly. The ADC's riding over must have been shot or hit by cannon fire or something. Robinson and Halkett both shut it down over here at Abu Chuco, excuse me. The rest of the other half of the British are functional, but there will be three hesitant brigades, which will give them 5 dice rolled for initiative, which is going to be difficult to overcome. French will be rolling for their 5 brigades right now, seeing how they do. French also end up with 3 haltering brigades. Is Gauthier on the right flank? He shuts it down. He's got some command concerns. Curto, seeing Gauthier not doing what he's supposed to be doing, he also, with the French cavalry, he holds behind the trees. Gauthier will lose his artillery assault over here on his guns. I believe the caisson's not wasted, so they didn't use it, so I'll put that back on the board. Menet is following commands with his artillery assault in the center. These gentlemen under Boyer are good. And on the far left, Lamartiniere, he also shuts it down and goes hesitant. So that's not terrible. Both sides will be rolling 5d6 for initiative, so this is anybody's game. Graham ends up with a 3, and Rail ends up with 7, which is not bad for 5 dice. He rolled really good. All right, so French will have initiative. Nobody was planning any charges this turn, so we'll go right on into movement, where the French will be moving first. All right, we're back to the satellite feed over the battlefield. Down here, these gentlemen were hesitant, but that only means close order units can't move. The 2 KGL light battalions in skirmish order both slid over to the left and left this skirmish line of it's Halkett's brigade to fight against the built-up area by themselves. So they're here. We've got the 2 KGL lights here have gotten in front. The French had moved first. They brought down Boyer's brigade, and his skirmishers had projected out front to join the French skirmishers here, making a pretty decent skirmish base now of French troops. You've got, I think they have 9 bases of skirmish screen right here, which is great. So the light will fight them across the river. They weren't doing too good firing into the built-up area. Well, as I mentioned, Boyer moved up. Those two French units back over there for Le Maltier, they both reformed after changing garrison duty positions. These gentlemen held firm. British didn't really do anything here. There's no point going across the bridge and getting whacked, so they just kind of held firm. Cavalry couldn't move back here because of hesitancy. And over on the left, the Black Watch moved back in the line. I would have liked to move the Cameron Highlanders back, but they had fire discipline, so you can't move except to form square. So they stayed where they were, but they're going to lose that fire discipline now for not moving. And the 60th Royal American, worrying about the horse, slid to the left. Before all that happened, though, this French unit, it was worn. They had rolled back to make a hole basically for the cavalry, and these gentlemen had moved out of attack column into line, preparing for if they needed to move to the second line behind them in a turn or two. So, and the 60th Royal American moved in front of the 79th. That won't protect them from fire from this place here, but it does beginning to extricate themselves the best they could, because this bridge attack, they don't have any supports really, so this was more of a diversion than anything else for the British as far as they're concerned right now. Pulling back across the Zadorra. Okay, that was moving, which is pretty cool. So now we'll get into skirmish shooting, starting with the French. We'll start off on the far right with the garrison at Abu Chuko. They're going to fire, normally have 5 shots, firing across the water at the skirmish screen of Halkett. So they're going to drop down to 4 shots. Alright, they do 1 casualty on those skirmishers, and the riflemen lose a base because they had a base with 2. Alright, now this battalion here, or La Montier's brigade, skirmish line with 4 bases will fire across the river. They'll fire at the KGL 1st Battalion. They would normally have 5 shots, but they lose 1 down to 4. KGL takes 1 casualty. And now the new skirmish screen coming up from Boyer's brigade. Well, they have 5 bases, firing 6 shots, losing 1 because of the river at the 2nd KGL. The 2nd KGL Light Battalion takes a casualty. They've got 1 now too. Alright, sliding down the river, going to Gomara Mayor. The garrison will fire 5 shots, losing 1 down to 4 against this skirmish line of Omtides brigade. Those gentlemen suffer a 2nd casualty. Going down to this skirmish line of, who is this? Oh, this is Menet's brigade. He's got 3 bases, dropping down to 3 shots against what's left of, who is it? Oh my gosh. A Hayes brigade, that's right. No effect there against those British riflemen. And then going down here, the last thing we've got is they're going to save. They have 1 more shot, but it wouldn't matter this turn. I don't plan on using the last blast from the regimental gun inside of Tirana. But that garrison will fire 5 shots at the Cameron Highlanders on the bridge. That inflicts a casualty on them, taking them up to 3. Yeah, that'll end the French skirmish shooting. Now we'll go back here, and Stedman's Highland riflemen basically will fire. They would normally shoot 6 shots, but they'll drop down to 3, shooting back against the garrison. They just chipped the heck out of the paint on the walls. No effect there. Sliding down to Omtides brigade. He's got 3 bases, going up to 5, losing 1 down to 4. I apologize, that's not Omtides skirmish green, that is Hayes. Omtides boys are across the river. Alright, but still, they get 4 shots. They put a casualty on Menet's skirmish screen. These guys are going to fire from Onti's brigade. They'd have 6 shots, but dropping down to 3 against Gamora Mayor's. Is that how you pronounce it? Gamora Mayor garrison. It's actually the first time the garrison's been hit. They take their first casualty. Alright, both KGL light battalions are going to fire into this skirmish screen of Lamentier's brigade. So we'll do the second first. They'll shoot 4 shots, and these guys will shoot 4 shots. First volley has no effect. Now the first battalion firing at the same target. That's awesome, and they have a they put 1 casualty on that. Well, that's not really awesome. It's been kind of the status quo. I'm all pumped up for something. They put 1 casualty more on those. They're up to 2 now. And then the final act of the skirmish phase will be these British riflemen now down to 4 bases. They'll be firing 6 shots, losing 3 down to 3 shots against the defenders of Abu Chuko. They put a 2nd casualty on that garrison, so that's done. The French gun over here with Gauthier's brigade cannot fire at anybody. Nobody's in range with a hesitant brigade, so they're not firing. Over here, though, who's this gentleman again? I always seem to forget. Not right. Oh, Menet's right next to the guns. I should have known that. He does have artillery assault. He's going to fire at that Hanoverian brigade. They're going to have bounce through, and that is still a long-range shot, so it'll be inferior artillery fire. Oh, these guys are up to 3 casualties now. I forgot. I did horrible math. 2 casualties here on the field battalion from Verdun, and then the Bremen field battalion takes 1 of bounce through. British guns are once again going to combine fire on Gauthier's artillery brigade up there on the hill. This gun's firing just weak inferior fire at long-range blast at those gentlemen. They hit them, raising them to 5 casualties. Now we'll slide through the trees over here to the left, and the Stedman's artillery battery will fire artillery assault against the same guns with extra 2 CDs. And they get absolutely hammered for 4 casualties. Oh, they're up to 9. 1 away from dispersal. Those guys are going to be worn, and yeah, they're in trouble now. Could be retiring with the quickness. Hopefully they'll limber up and get the heck out of there. The British have done a good job with counter battery fire silencing those guns. Alright, going over here, I think this is going to be the only volley fire we're going to have this turn. Will be the 2nd Battalion, 118th. It's going to fire into the 60th Royal American. They bring the pain, getting payback for the French guns that just got shellacked. And they inflict 4 casualties on the 60th. They are up to 7 now. They are worn. They're going to try to return the favor, but they'll now fire, instead of a standard volley, I think it's an inferior volley, but they will get the extra CD for being a veteran. They put 2 casualties on to those Frenchmen. They're up to 3 now, who definitely got the better part of that exchange. All right, and that'll end turn 7. Going on to turn 8. Wow. Just getting... oh, it's just awesome playing Napoleonics and General d'Armée. All right, guys. Hang on for turn 8, and hopefully more cool things will be happening. I don't see why they wouldn't. All right, before we get into turn 8, I do have 2 housekeeping things I forgot to do. I was going back and editing this last turn. This artillery of the French under General Gauthier's brigade needs to take a discipline check. They'll be saving as reservists because they got hammered by artillery fire, and then also the 60th Royal American also will take a discipline check, and they'll be saving as line troops. So we'll do the French first, then come back to these gentlemen. Well, that's a game changer. They retreat, forcing them to disperse, faltering Gauthier's brigade as they ditch their guns and run. They were hammered down anyway, but the faltering brigade will cause some issues for Gauthier in turn 8. Now the 60th Royal American saving as a line unit because they're usually veteran. Here, let's do their discipline check. They shrugged that off like the professionals they are. All outstanding. Okay, now we can go on to ADC availability for turn 8. We will be taking an intermission at turn 9 because this video is probably getting into 2-hour mark, I'm assuming. Alright, so hang in there. Let's finish strong. Might have a guest appearance for turn 9. My son's coming over to visit with his fiance and my grandson, so hopefully I can trick him into playing a turn down here. Oh my gosh, Graham totally punts. He only gets 2. General Rail gets 4. So the British have they need to do too many things. we're getting the halfway point of this battle. He's going to use Chief of Staff and blow that right away, and re-roll all those 4 plus gain 2 extra ADCs. The British now jump up to 8 ADCs, so they'll have a lot of fun things to do. French are dealing with 4. French won initiative last turn, so they'll be deciding what to do next. They'll be putting at least 2 ADCs into Gauthier to try to rally him from faltering. For their other 2 ADCs, Boyer is going to get a skirmish tasking for his skirmish line up there, and a reroll for that brigade. Alright, for Graham, General Stedman, his bold brigadier, will get a skirmish tasking for his skirmish screen to fire onto those gentlemen. Keep the pressure on. Over here, we're sending the Hanoverians across. Omtida's got a glory, an infantry assault, and a reroll. And then we're going for the skirmish insanity over here for Halkett with all 3. Everyone's got a skirmish tasking assigned and a reroll for them. Alright, we'll roll the French first and see how active they are. Plus they have the rallying for Gauthier's faltering brigade. So Gauthier rallies back to hesitant, so that's great. Menet goes hesitant, and everything else for the French is going wonderfully well. Alright, let's go over to the British. Everything is active for General Graham. British will be rolling 2d6 for initiative. French will be rolling 4d6 with 2 hesitant brigades. He's back, baby. General Graham seizes the initiative back from Rail. Alright, the British do have 1 charge to declare as they send their Germans, the Hanoverians, across the bridge, assaulting, and they're going to get shellacked. Hopefully they can duck and weave Matrix style. General Rail, General Rail. He switched sides. General Omtida dashes across the bridge, leading the field battalion from Bremen? No, Verden. And also the field battalion from Kallenberg goes with him to support against the French. That's a grenadier battalion there of French voltigeurs. Good luck, light infantry style. And once again, they will get the crossfire from HE double hockey sticks into them from every single direction as the garrison from Gomorrah Mayor, the regimental gun from Gomorrah Mayor, the skirmish screen of 3 bases from Menet's brigade will all fire like there's no business. Plus, they'll get the well-disciplined volley from the French light infantry. So this is going to be another fun one. All right, go, Gadget, attack!
We'll start off with the skirmish screen. They're going to get 4 shots at the boys that already have, I think, 3 casualties. Let's see how many this gets up to. They are a reserve battalion, so I think they buckle at 10. The Hanoverian charge catches those gentlemen by surprise. They have no effect on them. Now the garrison firing 5 shots as they traverse past them. The garrison was not surprised at all. They had all their guns pointing out through holes in the walls and everything. They just blasted them. They've also got the gate partially open, and they're going to fire the cannon, the 4-pounder, out the gate, just full of grape shot. Good luck, gentlemen. 2 extra CDs on this bad boy. That puts 2 more casualties on those gentlemen, up to 7, forcing a discipline check because it's canister. They'll be saving his enfant perdu because they are worn. Discipline starts to break down as officers and NCOs are slaughtered by canister fire. They're up to, they're still at 7 casualties, but now they're unformed. And now these gentlemen in front of them will level their muskets and fire a point-blank volley into them with 2 extra CDs, 1 for being grenadier. Oh, just in case you didn't know, the other CD is because they're an attack column at point-blank range. That final volley from that Leger battalion, just too much for those Hanoverians as they are mown down and dispersed in front of the gates of Gamora Mayor. Oh! But no, the third attack across the Zadorra has been repulsed. These gentlemen are caught out on the bridge as that unit is blown to pieces in front of them. And now they look up at the top of the hill and they see a French artillery battery just zeroing in on them. And they're going to drill them at some point. Well, that ends the charge phase. It never happened. That brigade is now faltering on their Amtida. You'll try to bring that back together again in the next turn. Now we'll go on into movement phase. All right, after the movement phase, the British have, the Scottish too, have retreated back across the Zadorra at Girona after that failed crossing. They put their 60th back into skirmish order. The Highland brigades have fallen back. They were able to retreat, and because they're veteran, they changed into line. French, in response, have actually they've moved their damaged brigade back, and they just have the other one sitting there now in support. They've kind of done retreat to a second line kind of stuff, but not officially. And they moved their 3 skirmish screen back to the front of the unit again to try to buffer them. Garrison's still there. After this nightmare has already basically taken place. Nothing really could have happened here. General Hay has moved his brigades up a little bit, his battalions up a little bit to prepare for another assault across the Zadorra. French are just kind of salivating, waiting for that to happen. And over here we got all this crazy skirmish fire that's going to happen. Nothing really moved for the British, but the French, since they have already repulsed 2 attempting crosses at the Zadorra at Gamora Mayor and at Girona. The only place the British haven't tried to go across yet is at Abu Checo. So they're getting ready for that as they move forward their Leger battalions in the front of Boyer's brigade. They brought up their 2 other battalions to, keep in contact with them. And they've repositioned these gentlemen so they'll have a rear support and a flank support. And they're still, I think they have one last regimental gun action that they'll save for anything the British side or the Germans decide to do over here. So, but we've got all this crazy skirmish firing for prep work going to happen. So, but also the French have skirmish fire as well. So, but the British will be shooting first. All right, that's the end of movement. Sorry, I forgot. British cavalry begin a flank and move under Anson as the 1st Dragoons, followed by the Hussars of the Queen's Own, start shooting out to the left in case they want to do a charge of the Light Brigade across the bridge at Girona.
So that'll be cool. French cavalry just salivating behind the trees waiting for that to happen. So that'll be good. It'll be dragoon on dragoon action. Okay, and then these poor boys from Kallenberg just stuck out on the bridge with a "Hit Me" sign on it. They're playing that Britney Spears song, "Hit me, baby, one more time." All right, that was horrible. Sorry. I plan on losing like 12 subscribers because of me trying to sing. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's start skirmish shooting before this channel's over. See you guys. All right, starting off, firing at Abuchuco. They got down to 3 bases? No, 4 bases of Halkett's brigade rifles, going up to 6 shots with the skirmish tasking, going up to 8, losing 3 from the river and firing at a garrison. So that's 5 if my math is right. Oh, the walls holding up. No effect for those gentlemen. All right, now the 2 KGL battalions are going to combine fire on Lamentier's skirmish screen, trying to take them out of the battle. Then they'll go after Boyers next. They'd go up to 7 shots, going down to 6 shots against those gentlemen right there. Causing 1 casualty and forcing a discipline check on those gentlemen. All right. Those Frenchmen needed a 7 to pass as a skirmish screen, so they become unformed and also take another casualty. So they'll lose a base from the shooting, and then they'll get 1 additional casualty on another base as they become unformed. 2 more casualties, blowing away another skirmish base and forcing another discipline check. Oh, and they take another casualty after failing that discipline check. They're down to 2 now with 1 casualty. They will be recalled probably next turn, in turn 9. So they get hammered. Oh, wow. Not good for them. All right, onto the skirmish screen will fire 3 shots at the defenders of Gamora Mayor. They put a 2nd casualty on the garrison, so that's going pretty well for the British forces so far in the skirmish tasking. Next up, we have another. We've got Hayes' skirmish screen. He's got 3 bases left. Would be firing. Normally, would be firing what, 5 shots? Correct. Sorry, I almost tripped on an extension cord that was sticking out. Losing 1 for the river. Firing at Manet's skirmish screen that's already fired. With those 4 shots, they put another casualty on those gentlemen, raising them to 2. 60th Royal American will fire at these gentlemen. Their skirmish screen, they would normally have 5 shots, but they'll drop down to 4. I think I'd give these guys an extra one because they have rifles too. So 6 shots, they'll drop down to 5. They do the crucial casualty to that skirmish screen of Gauthier. So he loses another casualty. That removes the skirmish base, dropping them down to 2. They'll be withdrawing next turn. And finally, Stedman's Highlander skirmish screen with 4 bases with the skirmish tasking. They're rifle armed, so they would shoot 6 shots, going up to 8, but losing 3 from firing at a garrison across this river. They were shooting 5 shots. I was looking around for a casualty marker on the 1st Battalion, 118th in Girona, but that's the first time they've been hit. So the walls have been getting shellacked, but they finally break through and blow away a couple guys. Great job. Pretty decent round of skirmish fire for the Allied forces here. Now the garrison of Girona firing back with 5 shots down to 4 because of the river. All right, they take 1 casualty. This skirmish screen down to 2 bases here from Gauthier's brigade. Firing across the river would be 3 shots, but down to 2 against the 60th Royal American. No effect at all. And now you can see why the initiative is so important sometimes in this game. You can really the British have done a good job of blunting the return fire. These gentlemen have already fired. The garrison's already fired. They were part of the charge phase when they wore out that Hanoverian brigade. Now we get to this point here. These gentlemen have 5 bases from Boyer's brigade. They have the skirmish tasking, so 6 to 8 across the river at the KGL, down to 7 shots. Holy cow, terrible shooting. All right, the 2 remaining skirmish bases of the Lamentieres brigade, they have 2 bases. They'd be 3 shots. They would lose 1 because they're unformed, so they get 1 shot. Is that right? No, so they get 2 shots, but they lose 1 from firing across the river, so they don't even get to shoot. That's just, they have to take, 2 hits to make 1. So we'll go down to this, the garrison from Abuchuco, firing across the river with 4 shots against the skirmish screen of Halkett's brigade. No effect. Yeah, the British really did a good job. They get, of course, the French during the charge phase had some phenomenal skirmish shooting and everything else shooting as at that poor Hanoverian brigade that went across. But oh gosh, probably not. I'm sure it happened. What do they call them? I forget. Oh, it's that term where the vanguard basically going across, the forlorn hope. Good luck, gentlemen. They got smoked. All right, so now we go on to the artillery phase. British guns are going to combine fire. They're both going to shoot at the remaining French gun. Thankfully, this battery over here is elevated. Neither one of these is on assault fire. I might do them both at the same time, and I'll just mark which one is which. They're both going to have inferior battery fire against those gentlemen up on the hill. Bit of a mixed bag there. 4th Brigade's artillery, they're 9-pounders. They do another fatigue casualty on themselves. They're up to 4 casualties, so if they want to assault fire in the future, they're going to be caisson dependent. But General Graham does have 2 caissons left. 6th Brigade does a great job. They roll a 10. So they do 2 casualties to that gun, forcing a discipline check. Those French gunners get pounded for 2 casualties. They take their discipline check. They're so hyped. They roll a double 6. They recover a casualty back down to 1. Now they will fire. They're in a hesitant brigade, but those guys are exactly 24 inches. So they're going to fire at them across the bridge with effective fire. When it's going to get an extra CD because they are nicely packed in at effective range. No bounce through though, nothing's behind them within 3 inches. They lay down some love for those Kallenberg Hanoverian Reserve Battalion. They take 4 casualties, ouch, and they have to take a discipline check as reservists. They become unformed on the bridge as many of their officers and senior NCOs are just blown to pieces by cannonballs bouncing through them. Oh, mass confusion. There's no volley fire for turn 8. The British have pulled back for most of their volley fire ranges. So that'll end that. We will do turn 9 when I get back from church, and hope my son will be here, and then we'll get this out for you guys to enjoy. Hopefully on your Sunday afternoon or early next week. And boom, what a great turn. The whole battle's been awesome. I'm kind of drooling a little bit. All right, hopefully I'm not panning to the left and right too fast. I probably am. All right, we're going to start giving out subscribers, get some Dramamine to stop the seasickness I'm causing. I want everybody to get that Navy feel like I had. All right, you guys are awesome. We'll see you in turn 9.
right, it's turn 9. This will be the last turn of the part 1 of this awesome battle for the Bridges of Zadorra. Of course, this is part of the Vitoria 1813 campaign book for General des Armées. I was gonna hope my son was going to come over, but he ended up having to do some stuff. We're up in Lexington where he lives, so hopefully get him down here for another game soon. He's a busy man, so totally understand that. Let's do a little fly around the battlefield here. Get one last look before we get to business. We'll be rolling ADCs for availability for both sides. 6 dice each. We do have one faltering brigade on the table, maybe 2. 1. Well, yep, just one. Hanoverian brigade under Amtida. They got smoked trying to make a crossing here. I think that was Allied's 4th attempt to cross the Zadorra. So it's tough. It's tough business. All right, these regimental or battalion guns are pretty awesome. Kudos to David Brown for making the rules. Forgot the General Graham for the British has used one CNC command, and that was his chief of staff. All right, so let's get on to those availability of the ADCs. French get 4 and the British get 6, which is I think it's doable. I don't think we need to burn any CNCs for this turn. I think the French definitely want to save stuff for after the British get across the bridge for emergent stuff, and the Allies definitely have to save their last one until they hopefully roll a double 6 on initiative, probably for some kind of assault when it's go time. They're gonna have to do like Stand With Me, or I can't remember what the other ones are. I always forget, but there's some great CNC commands. All right, so let's start off with the Allies. They're going to use at least 2 of them are going to be put towards General Amtida, one for the reserve tasking penalty and one for reroll to make sure he makes it, or at least has an attempt. All right, Allies are going to go with the same plan as before. They have their 2 over here, and their last 4 they'll do their 3 skirmisher screens for who is that? Halkett, and a reroll on his brigade. Plus, they'll get the extra roll down here for who's this guy's name? Stedman, for being a bold brigadier. So we'll see what happens with that. Let me think about the French, and we'll get that done. French are going to try to play a little bit smart. They are going to do a skirmish tasking with Boyer with a reroll for his brigade. There's 2. And they'll do a ADC attachment on Lamantiere's brigade, and then also one on Manet's brigade. So they're going to have 3 of their 5 brigades will have rerolls, and which will hopefully in the long run pay off for initiative, because they really got their butts handed to them with the initiative loss last turn. The British skirmish fire was just blistering. I got some buildings from eBay. This guy was great for BattleTech, so that's kind of awesome. I have to get some more of these things. All right, I just base painted these guys. I'm gonna do some basic weathering and not some basic stuff. Nothing too exciting for these. I'm not the best building painter in the world anyway. Much rather paint miniatures. All right, the British won the last initiative, so they'll be rolling for brigade. What's it called? Non-hesitancy. That was horrible. I'll remember it later, but let's go with that for the moment. General Stedman over on the Allied left, he is hesitant, and General Amtida got a 6, so he rallied back to away from the faltered without any real negative impacts, which is great, but he is also hesitant. So the Graham will be rolling 4d6 on initiative. Gauthier on the French right goes hesitant, and even with a reroll for his skirmish tasking, Boyer goes hesitant. So that was a bummer. So the French will lose their skirmish tasking there. but they will roll 4d6 on initiative versus the Allied rolls. There was a double 6 in there, but they doesn't get to use those dice, so I don't think you get the bonus. If I'm wrong on that one, please correct me. French ended up with double 1s. You definitely don't think you deserve an ADC with double 1s. And the British will win with a 5, which is sad. All right. It would have been nice to get that extra ADC, but I don't think you get it unless it's... yeah. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I might read about that later and I'll add it on. But that will be that. The British will be going first, and they do not have any charges, so we'll go right into movement. Allies have been moving first. For movement, these gentlemen sidestepped and actually stepped back, making a hole. They couldn't move any closer, being hesitant. They made a hole for the British cavalry, which slid up here on top of the hill. The British skirmishers for that battalion or brigade moved over here, and also then the 60th Royal American, who are still in skirmish order, shifted over, and they're going to concentrate on that built-up area. French, not even taking chances. They saw the British cavalry here. These 3 battalions went into square. French cavalry have moved up, and they're just taking a defensive posture now. Nothing really happened over here. The Hanoverians fell back, stayed unformed off when they came off the bridge. French held positions. Oh yeah, these skirmishers will be facing these skirmishers. These gentlemen are still here. They didn't move. Oh yeah, these skirmishers are going to fall back behind the line because they're down to 2 bases. And I think any other French skirmishers that had 2 left went inside of the squares, just because they don't want to force a break check or a falter check on their brigade. And these skirmishers of Lamartinere's brigade have fallen back behind 1st Battalion of 122nd. Just trying to stay out of the way. Alright, that ends the movement phase. Now we get on into skirmish firing. Once again, the British did win this initiative, so they'll be firing first. We'll start off down here with the 60th Royal American and the Highlanders firing in against Girona. The Highlanders would be normally firing 6 shots, losing 3 for you-know-what, and they'll go down to 3 shots against the built-up area. Oh yeah, they're able to inflict a casualty on those gentlemen. The 60th Royal American has 6 shots because they are rifle borne. They'll lose 3. They'll go down to 3 shots as well. The 60th have no effect, so 1st Battalion, 118th, and garrison duty are up to 2 casualties. The British skirmishers of Hayes Brigade, the 3 bases that are left, they would have 5 shots, but down to 4 against those French skirmishers. They do a casualty, removing a skirmish base. That's the clutch thing. So that's the end of that one. Now we'll get these gentlemen firing against the garrison. 4 bases doing 6 shots, reduced to 3 against Gamora Mayor. They put a 3rd casualty onto that garrison. Alright, now we go over to Skirmish Tasking World. 2nd Battalion, KGL Light, with the skirmish tasking, firing against those skirmishers right there. The 2nd Battalion has 6 shots against the French. They put a hit on them and they will force a discipline check, looking for a 7. We'll put a 2nd casualty on them after they fail that skirmish tasking and fail that discipline check and become unformed. Alright, now first Battalion of the KGL Light will fire the identical volley of, I believe, 6 shots at those gentlemen. They'll put another casualty to them, removing a skirmish base and then forcing another discipline check. They punt that, so they'll lose a skirmish base and have one additional casualty on the next base. And in the final part of the British skirmish phase, these 4 bases will fire 6 shots minus 3. 6 shots plus 2, that'll be 8, and they lose 3 down to 5 shots against the garrison. Oh, great shooting as they raise them up to 4 casualties. Alright, the French will be firing back. Garrison, 5 shots, losing 1, 4 shots against the skirmishers right there. They do put a casualty on those gentlemen. Alright, now these 4 remaining bases over here that are unformed. So normally they would have 5 shots. Now they're going down to 4. They're shooting across the water down to 3 against the 2nd Battalion KGL Light. They do put a 2nd casualty on the KGL. Sliding down, the garrison of Gamara Mayor firing at these skirmishers with 4 shots. Oh, sad face. No effect. Alright, these 2 last skirmish bases will fire 2 shots at those British skirmishers. No effect there. And then I think the last thing to shoot will be the garrison of Girona will fire at the Highland skirmish line. They have 5 shots going down to 4. They do inflict a 2nd casualty on that skirmish base. Next we go on to the artillery section, or phase, excuse me. Both British guns will fire long range, what are they called? Inferior blasts against the French artillery up on the hill. Probably do a double whammy on them. No bounce through. They do put 2 casualties onto the French guns, so they're up to 3. The French are going to fire. The British units are too close to their own skirmish lines, so they're going to fire at the Hanoverian Field Battalion in the center there with an inferior blast. It is long range though, so there won't be an extra CDs from being in an attack column. I forgot, they have to make a discipline check to see if they fire back at one of the British guns. They passed their discipline check. Too bad they didn't get to use that for shooting. Now they're going to blast at the Duke of York's Highland Field Battalion from Ossenbrook, which has no effect. I wish I could have kept that 10. I blew it. All right, that was pretty quick, pretty easy. Just doing the groundwork for the second half of this game. You don't want to kind of blow all your powder on the first bit, so they're softening them up with skirmish firing. They've done a couple attempts across the bridge. I think they've done 4, all of which have been repulsed by the French. I am thrilled that it's not an easy crossing, so that's kind of cool. I think the big clutch thing has been, one, there's built up areas by that. I have positioned the French a little better to defend. I wish I would have done that with the in the other battle with the Austrians and the Prussians and Russians at, I think it was, at south of Brussels. And the regimental guns are just an awesome rule. I think I've got to use those more often, and they're almost devastating. But they are getting a bit low on special abilities. The Apucheco has 1 left. Tomorrow, all 3 of them have 1 function left. So once they get those taken out, it should be a lot easier to get across the bridge. French, yes, they've gone into square to block the British cavalry. And then the French cavalry's moved up in case the Highlanders come across the bridge. They're going to immediately get smashed by dragoons. So let's get some things to think about for turn 10, the second half of this game, as the British continue to basically play the skirmish game, which they're winning at, and now they're winning the artillery game. So they've got a, I think it's pretty. I hope it's intelligent. It seems to be smart. It's a little frustrating for me because I just want to charge across the bridge, but I've tried that a couple times and just been smashed. So maybe that's in the long run that'll work, but we'll see. And that's it. So I hope you guys are going to have a fantastic week. I'm pumped to play more of this. So this will be a 18 turn game. So we've got turn 10 through 18 in part 2, which will hopefully have out pretty quickly. This is just a fantastic game system, as I've said about a bazillion times about General d'Armée. I've been doing a lot of background work, painting Civil War guys this week. Continue to knock out those 6 Prussian line battalion. At the same time, I've been working on them. And I've got the Civil War guys, and I've done a lot of the groundwork for the Alpha Strike campaign. Second this gets done, we're going to be playing some BattleTech. So that's it. Hope you guys have a good time again, and we'll talk to you soon, man. You guys are great. Bye-bye.